Is he? Playing or travelling?
Romancing.
Oh.
Jim, what did you make of
He's
that?
not talking out of that mistake, no. Sorry, go ahead.
What did you make of that?
Listen, I thought it was a really, good advert for the Premiership, if I'm being honest. Two teams, trying to win the game, really going for it at the end as well. It was very end to end. Of course, the major disappointment from our perspective is that we, managed to get our noses in front in the second half. Obviously, leading the game twice, but to get our noses in front for the second time, and then to concede that equaliser so soon after is a real kick in the teeth. I felt we had enough bodies in that area, in and around the penalty area, to deal with it. Someone's got to take control and take command of the situation and get a good clearance on it. Falkirk get a little bit of luck with the break of the ball and the ricochet that takes it into the back of the net. But over the whole piece, I think when we analyse it back, I think the draw at the end of the game is probably a fair result for both teams.
Given the amount of travelling and the amount of players that you had out, Jim, you must be immensely proud of the effort.
I really am, yeah. I mean, it's really strange to be sitting here on the opening day of the season and talking about the number of injuries that we have at the moment, but there is no getting away from it. I'm not trying to make excuses here. We're missing some real key players. Our captain and our vice captain, Graham and Ferry, both absent today. Obviously Ferry's is a suspension, but Ryan Strain, Namo Fatah, all really good players that can be great options for us off the bench, if not starting the game, and we didn't really have that luxury available to us today. So we knew the game was going to be difficult because of how short in numbers we are. We knew there was going to be an added difficulty to it, given the occasion here today for Falkirk. It's very much a celebration moment for them off the back of what they achieved last season. It was a great atmosphere. It was a really good game, and I think a draw away from home more often than not is not a bad result in the Scottish Premiership. And I think off the back of us playing in Europe last Thursday with the short turnaround, the lack of recovery and the shortage of players, I think we've got to be satisfied with the point.
Who have you got coming back for this week, if any?
We've got a few touch and go, but then we've got a few longer term injuries. Obviously Ferry will be eligible for the game, which is great. But there's a few on the sidelines at the moment that we'll just have to wait and see. But we'll be pushing them hard over the next few days. They're all desperate to play, obviously. It's just a lot of bad luck on our part, unfortunately. But look, these are the challenges that we face. It was only a couple of years ago that this weekend we were travelling to Arbroath to kick off the championship. In the space of 2 years now, we're sitting here slightly disappointed to pick up a point away from home. But looking forward to a game against Rapid Vienna in Europe next week. So I think when you put things in perspective, we've come a long way in a short period of time.
What's the prognosis on Christian Trapanovsky now that that's settled down a bit after?
Trapanovsky's a hamstring, unfortunately. So he sprinted in the game on Thursday night against Strassen and felt his hamstring. So he'll be seeing a specialist on Monday, and then we'll have a clearer idea of the length of time that he's going to be absent for. But it's not ideal. You work on a system all pre-season. The players are trying to get used to that, and then on the opening day of the league campaign, you've got to make changes to that because of the personnel that you're missing. We asked a lot of Christian Carestes and Vichko Seveos to play at fullback. It's not their natural positions, but they've done a job for the team, and they understood why those changes had to be made. And as I said, I think over the course of the game, a draw was a fair outcome for both teams.
Links of Jorg van der Sand potentially going back to Cambuur, anything in that, Jim, or where is that at the moment?
No, I don't know where that's at the moment. I'll catch up with my chief executive later on the way down the road and find out about that situation. But at the moment, I'm not fully up to speed on it.
I just wanted to also ask about Pan Camera's performance in the middle of the park, Jim. I thought it was outstanding today.
Yes, I thought he was probably the pick of the bunch. Both himself and Craig Sibbald in there, actually, really good experience. I've often looked at teams, that have been involved in Europe who have really struggled domestically in the next game, and I can completely understand now why that's the case, because we get back into Glasgow in the early hours of Friday morning. The boys are training on the Friday afternoon, very little recovery, and then you've got to go again on the Sunday. And I think the energy levels that Pan in particular showed was outstanding. But not just Pan, I think across the board it was a really good effort from everyone. But we have to dig deep now, we have to recover properly, and we have to make sure that we've got enough